the sign language interpretation. Now, earlier on at the Supreme Court of Kenya, the swearing in of the panel of experts on the compensation of victims of protests and riots happened, and we'd like to just see those proceedings that happened a little bit earlier.
I know I've been quiet about this, and I'm sure a lot of people want to hear my views and thoughts, particularly on taking up this assignment vis-a-vis the work that we continue to do as the Law Society of Kenya. And so I felt I owed not only the legal profession, but as well as members of the public, to share my thoughts in terms of what I've grappled with and why I've made this decision. The quest for justice in terms of compensation must go hand in hand with expedited access to justice for victims for police brutality during protests and riots. For over 1 year, I think I've become friends of the media and a lot of those civil society organizations and members of the public. But we have known no peace since the 18th of June 2024, where my phones have never stopped ringing with phone calls, messages, and WhatsApp alerts from Kenyans in distress. I've responded to calls even at 3 a.m. in the morning, on Sundays, even when at church. And when they could not reach me, they would reach my colleagues in council and even friends of schoolmates. Many a times the calls came from common Kenyans who continue to grapple with the nationwide apprehension on the state of accountability for human rights violations, the efficacy of the criminal justice system, and responding to state-sanctioned infractions, and the role of government, the public, and civil society in ensuring holistic justice for all victims. My endless encounter with Kenyans who have suffered in the hands of law enforcers remind me of how much more is yet to be done to reform our nation. Every conversation with inconsolable family members of victims who paid the ultimate price has probed whether a country can claim conscience when it harms its own people and leaves victims to fend for dear self in the unyielding hope that a system that has never appeared to put them first will somehow serve them.
That is Faith Odhiambo, who is the chairperson of the Law Society of Kenya. She is also the vice chairperson of the panel of experts on the compensation of victims of protests and riots. That particular panel that is chaired by Professor Makau Mutua was sworn in this morning and shall be hosting, or rather sitting for its first meeting at the KICC this afternoon. Our very own Abdiaziz Hashim is on the ground and shall be updating us on what happens during that particular meeting. We move on now to Mombasa, where the Agricultural Show of Kenya is starting. President William Ruto shall be opening that particular show in Mombasa today. Let's just have a look at the pictures, the sights and sounds of the ASK show in Mombasa. Those pictures coming to you from Mombasa, where the Agricultural Show of Kenya, that is ASK show, is supposed to begin. President William Ruto is set to officially open that particular show. But for now, we give you more news, and we shall be going back there a little bit later. But for now, residents and traders in Garsen in Tana Delta Sub-County, Tana River County, have opposed plans by the county government to relocate the goat and sheep market. Led by Garsen West Ward MCA Mahmoud Gabo, they lamented that relocating the market to a remote area would deny them customers and hence disrupt their income. They are now demanding that the county government rescind the decision to relocate the market.
Tunawategemea wakienda kule hao watalii ndio wanatuletea pesa.
Saa hii ikitolewa hizi soko ya mbuzi hapa, hii Garsen itakuwa mahame. Kwa hivyo hatuko tayari kuua mji wetu kwa sababu hiyo. Kama wao county government ile pesa wanapata kwa national government ambao hakuna huduma na sisi hawatatosheka na hiyo, hata wakifanya mchezo tutapiga alam, hata ushuru hatutatoa.
Saa hii tu hatuna biashara. Je, soko likiondoshwa biashara tutazipata wapi? Hatuwezi kuuza hata juisi wala viazi wala mama wa mboga. Kwa hivyo sisi hatutaki soko liondoshwe.
And former Cabinet Secretary Penina Malonza has raised concern over the government's silence on the persistent wave of insecurity in Kitui South. Speaking in Kitui, Malonza condemned the recent bandit attacks in Mutha Ward that left families homeless, schools paralyzed, and at least 2 people dead. She is now calling on President William Ruto to urgently intervene and restore peace in the troubled region. Over the past few weeks, armed robberies, livestock rustling, and nighttime raids have become too common in the region, prompting leaders from across the political and religious divide to speak out.
Sehemu niliyotoka inaitwa Mudha. Kule Mandongoi, kule Kitui hawana amani. Tumeona watu wetu wameweza kuchomewa manyumba. Na tunauliza wale wako na jukumu sana CS wetu ambaye niliongea naye Kiptum Murkomen na nikaongea na PS, nimewauliza angalau washuke. Walifanya kazi mzuri. Kidike alipea watu wetu bunduki na tunashukuru kwa sababu hiyo ni jambo moja tulililia kwa muda mwingi. Lakini kwa sasa kutochi nyumba nayo hiyo ni insecurity ingine imechupuka mpya na watu kuuliwa, na tunasema lazima viongozi waongee kwa pamoja. Mimi ningeomba tu tushikane mkono, tusaidiane ndiposa tulete amani kwa watu wetu.
And in Nakuru, heavy traffic built up and is still witnessed along the Nakuru-Eldoret Highway at Eveready roundabout near Nakuru town following repair works after the formation of a sinkhole on this section of the road. Owing to the activities, vehicles have been forced to use a single lane. Residents have in the meantime faulted the government for neglecting the busy highway, which they say has developed rifts multiple times, putting lives at risk. They now want relevant authorities, including the Disaster Management Authority, to address the situation with the agency it deserves.
Sisi tunaomba serikali hii barabara kama wameshindwa kuitengeneza mzuri ifungwe, ndio watafute alternative wenye watu watapitia. Juu hii barabara ni risk baka kwa watu wenye wanavuka. Ya pili, ukikuja uangalia hii side ya chini, hizi ni nyumba zimejengwa hapa gorofa na ni risk maisha ya watu.
Naendelea kukatika, imekatika kwa katikati ya rami, so watu wakae safe. Ama wale watu wenye wana manage disaster, tumefunga barabara inatumika moja. So tunataka maaskari wakuwe hapa kwa kontroli magari ndio tuweze kukua safe, tusipate disaster kubwa.
Now, emotions ran high at Kasarani village in Thiba Ward, Mwea Kirinyaga County during the burial of 4 family members. The 4 died in a fire incident at their rented house in Ngurubani town 2 weeks ago. The burial took place amid calls for thorough investigations into the unfortunate incident.
His spouse Winnie Njoki, aged 49 years, and their 2 children, Grace Wawira, aged 15 years, and Ivy June Jerry, aged 4 years, arrived at Kasarani village in Mwea Kirinyaga County. The grief on the faces of those in attendance, telling the painful tale of what transpired on the 16th of August 2025 when unforgiving flames consumed the family. Winnie Njoki and the 2 children died on the spot, while Julius Mwangi died 2 weeks later while undergoing treatment at Moya Mission Hospital.
Goodbye feels heavy, yet love makes it light. For in every prayer, in every tear, we live on. Rest peacefully, our dear parents.
The late Julius Mwangi lived a happy life with the community members. He always offered support whenever called upon.
Beyond her books, Grace had a gentle and caring nature. She was a true friend, always ready to help others and bring a smile when it was most needed.
According to a statement he recorded at the hospital, they were attacked by unknown people, but he managed to escape. Nancy Okwari, Lunchtime News.
May their souls rest in peace. Now, a section of leaders allied to the Democracy for the Citizens Party, drawn from Nairobi County, have faulted what they term as forces behind the aborted planned impeachment of Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja. Speaking in Nairobi, the leaders led by DCP coordinator Ken Macharia said members of the county assembly should be given the space to act independently. They warned that the undue influence threatens to undermine democracy and deny Nairobi residents their fair share of development. They at the same time accused the governor of presiding over stalled development despite controlling a huge county budget.
We call upon the President and the former Prime Minister to uphold the rule of law and to live up to the letter and the spirit of the Constitution by allowing the MCAs to exercise their constitutional role or their constitutional mandate of oversight.
Should also be accountable and know that he was not elected by the former Prime Minister or the President. He was elected by the Nairobians. So he should be responsible and know that he's supposed to take care of the city.
Tumeona hakuna kazi hata moja wewe Sakaja unafanya katika hii Nairobi yetu. Ukiangalia side ya sewage zetu zote hakuna sewage inatembea, zote zimebroke. Na sisi kama wananchi, kama watu wa Nairobi, tuko na haki ya kupata huduma jema. Si tafadhali.
And in Nyandarua, 200 unemployed youths have been granted internship opportunities by the county government. The recruitment targets to equip them with critical skills and real work exposure. Speaking during the issuance of recruitment letters, Nyandarua Governor Moses Badilisha noted that the internship program will play a vital role in bridging the gap between academic training and practical work experience. He added that the internship will equip them with workmanship that will enhance the efficiency, creativity and responsiveness of county service delivery when employed.
I assure you that we are taking everything into consideration. Now we will learn from our mentors and we will do Nyandarua proud.
We understand the applications were over 1,000 and here we are only commissioning 200 of you. So therefore you must count yourself lucky that you have taken the opportunity to come here and take advantage such that they can give you a platform to understand more in the line of the learning so as you become a better person and exposed into your career line.
Today, as we receive the third cohort of interns, bringing the total number to 600, I can say confidently this is the change we promised and we are on course to deliver.
Police in Njeru sub-county are investigating the murder of a middle-aged woman who is said to have been killed by her husband. The deceased, identified as Eunice Wanjiku, was allegedly stabbed several times by her partner, Ibrahim Akango, following a prolonged domestic scuffle. The suspect is currently in police custody as the probe intensifies.
The Langi area of Njeru sub-county in Nairobi County, The community is still grappling with the aftermath of the tragic turn of events of a domestic brawl in which 38-year-old Ibrahim Akango Okanga allegedly stabbed his wife Eunice Wanjiko to death.
Ndio walianza vurugu, ni bibi na bwana. Kama watu wa plot tukaenda tukawasikizanisha, wakasema wamekubaliana, wamesikizana. Mwendo wa saa moja hivi sasa ndio tulisikia nduru imezidi. Wenye tulisikia nduru imezidi, kwenda kuchungulia mzee akasema mwenye atajaribu kukaribia hapa atamuua na ataacha amechoma ploti mzima.
The two who had lived together for years reportedly argued bitterly before the man reached for a kitchen knife, instantly killing his wife.
Kwenda kuchungulia, kuna mama anaitwa Mama Enjo, kwenda kuchungulia kwa dirisha alipatana na mtu amelala chini. Hapo alikuwa ashamuua. Alikuwa amedungwa hapa na ingine hapa kwa shingo. Sasa watoto ndio walianza kulia. Wenye watoto walianza kulia wakawekewa neti, kuwekewa neti ndio walivurutwa wakatolewa na neti.
Confirming the incident, the area OCPD John Oworth said the suspect is currently behind bars as investigations continue.
Serikali ni venye wako mbali na sisi. Wangekuwa karibu na sisi hata hiki kitendo ingefanyika.
We found so many people struggling to rescue children, but he had already killed the wife. Police custody, waiting to be arraigned before court.
He urged couples to resolve disputes amicably to avert such tragedies and curb cases of gender-based violence.
Wane tu, ikifika kiwango sasa mpaka mtu auwe mwenzake, then watu hawachane, mtu aende zake. Ikitulizwa na wananchi, village elders, my chiefs, wazee na ikatae, then wawachane tu.
Meanwhile, Oworth has also confirmed the smashing of a car theft syndicate in Kayole. He said the police swoop nabbed 3 suspects and recovered 2 Toyota Probox vehicles whose chassis numbers had already been interfered with.
The way we are seeing it, these vehicles have been stolen. And we are getting information that someone was selling apple fruits. And the vehicle was stolen with those apple fruits, and some of the apple fruits you can see here. And that person is coming also to give us more information.
Oworth further called on residents to cooperate with security agencies by reporting suspicious activities to curb the rising cases of vehicle theft. John Kahiro for Lunchtime News.
The Caucus of Liquor Licensing and Control Board has faulted the National Authority for the Campaign Against Alcohol and Drug Abuse, that is NACADA, for proposing a policy that would centralize liquor licensing, which they argue undermines the constitutional mandate of county governments. The proposed 2025 Alcohol, Drugs and Substances Abuse Policy has reportedly sparked controversy among stakeholders who believe it threatens devolution. Speaking in Diani, the caucus asserted its commitment to preserving the authority of county governments as outlined in the Constitution.
Certain part of policy inaua devolution. The reason tuko na katiba ili tuwe tufanye kazi kama counties independently na tuhudumie wananchi, lakini kama kuna areas zenye zina interfere na hiyo devolution, that means unapiga katiba.
Na sisi hatuwezi kukubali kama counties wacha hii mambo ya liquor board. Sisi kazi yetu tuifanye na NACADA ifanye policy yao, lakini hizo policy zingine zikiwa mbovu hatuwezi kukubali hapa chini. Mimi hatuwezi kukubali hapa chini because na sisi ni wananchi.
National Police Service has dismissed social media reports that a group of thugs is on the rampage in Nairobi Central Business District, terrorizing residents by using human waste and crude weapons. Nairobi Central Sub-County Police Commander Philemon Otieno Nyakombo, however, admitted that several suspected criminals have been arrested in connection with thuggery activities at CBD. He appealed to members of the public to share confidential information with security agencies for action instead of using social media to distort information. Meanwhile, a section of residents in the Central Business District has urged security agencies to redouble efforts to enhance security in the region.
A few reports
we have acted upon them. We have already 2 cases that are before court prior to these reports. And by then, we had reinforced our deployments in these areas. We have also taken action and acted on many other places, not just the mentioned area, and have arrested so many who have been arraigned before court. Cases are unique, and we act upon them but as individual cases, not collectively, not as reported on social media, where the only common ground is around archives, Galitos, and Kimandi Street. The rest of it, there is no story there. Thus, we must have a name to put to this case.
Moving on, leaders have been urged to support underprivileged children, especially those in orphanages, to guarantee them a better future. Speaking at Blessed Joy Children's Home in Gatundu South, Kiambu County, Rukine Sako Matatu owners Lucy Wanjiru and Joseph Mwinga called for donations of food, clothing and education support.
Changamoto zile wako nazo ni kama school fees, nguo za kuvaa na hata chakula. Ndizo zinakuanga changamoto, tungeomba wawe wakiwaletea.
Tunaweza omba watu wa Weloisas wawe wanakuja kutusaidia, wale watu wakuje watusaidie. Tuna mahitaji ya school fees, chakula, mavazi. Yeyote tu atasikia hii habari akuje, anaweza kuja, ako welcome kuja kutusaidia.
Tunaweza omba viongozi wetu MP, MCA na governor wakuje watembelee. Juu hawa watoto wako na shida kubwa sana, hawana school fees, hawana mavazi, hawana chakula, ili wakuje wasaidie mahali wataweza.
Nearly 2,000 artisanal miners from Osiri village in Nyatike, Migori County have registered with the Social Health Authority as the government steps up efforts to enhance access to healthcare services. The registration process, facilitated by local community health promoters and women's groups, ensured that miners who had fallen behind on their SHA payments had their accounts reactivated. The miners appealed to the government to review the payment structure to better reflect their financial realities.
Kuchukua pesa ya nini kujiandikisha kwa saa. Sasa vile nilisikia nikakimbia mbio ili nikuje nijiandikishe.
Most of our members of the community are defaulters in payment of SHA. But they have given us a cover. Yani they are paying for us a medical cover.
Sasa zingine unaweza enda, unapata mama mkongwe ana simu, ana line. Sasa huyo mama angeweza kuingia kwa hii SHA. Kwa sababu SHA kama una register, unakuwa na simu na line ile imekuwa registered. Kwa sababu hiyo ndio pesa yako ile ya watakulipia itapitia.
Watu wame-register lakini kulipa imeshindikana. Kwa ajili hii pesa imepandishwa juu, mtu analipa 30. Ukiona hata vile ameishi, nyumba ambayo ameishi, unapata mtu ameandikiwa ako kwa nyumba ya udongo, thatched house, kila kitu, hata kiti hakuna, anapatiwa 7,800, sijui 9,000.
And everybody knows here, he has the people in his heart. He has the interest of the people of Nyanza, Migori, Osiri, and everyone here. The president, with this broad, what is going on?
Meru University of Science and Technology has launched the Mount Kenya Run to raise school fees for vulnerable students in the learning institution. Speaking during the launch, University Council Chairman Professor James Ireri highlighted the event's alignment to the CBC curriculum, merging science and the arts. Vice-Chancellor Professor Romanas Odhiambo urged public support, noting the run also promotes environmental conservation. The event is set for September 7th, 2025.
One of the reasons
that many Kenyan students are so poor and so broke. And I don't blame anybody. It's our economic situation, the whole world, that we are thinking on how to evolve a strategy that may ensure that of these 40 out of 100 that are dropping out, that we also retain them.
And on that note, we take our first break here on Lunchtime News. When we come back, more news, including business and sports. Do stay with us.
One thing goals, like now, much ikienda, God gives you another thing.
I experience many challenges, especially when I will go to a bus station where I need to board a matatu, and they ask me, where are you going? And I am forced to write somewhere for the conductor to understand how much he will cost me.
Composing himself, short runner. Oh, and there's a brilliant save from Ochieno.
Kenya's stars on the football pitch continues to shine brighter. The dedication, the self-belief and enthusiasm across the board is visionary.
Olunga against Jarju. And Olunga scores, perfect penalty into the bottom corner. The keeper goes the wrong way. And Kenya are right back in this now.
Join us for the FIFA World Cup 2026 African qualifiers. March Day 7, Group F, Kenya versus Gambia on Friday 5th September 2025 at 4 p.m. from Moi International Sports Center, Kasarani. Live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1. Your true sports partner. The men and women in boots. They are commanded to defend and protect the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the Republic of Kenya. Their bravery knows no limits.
Make a man go through the wall without breaking the wall. Laziness, it is not in our vocabulary.
But what are their stories, their tales? Military Tales, every Saturday at 9 p.m. with Ben Troy Joe.
Welcome back. You're watching Lunchtime News on KBC Channel 1 now. The Kenya National Gender and Equality Commission has rolled out a nationwide study to assess the state of girls' education in minority and marginalized communities. The study will identify barriers and opportunities that affect enrollment, retention, transition and learning outcomes. Speaking in Isiolo, NGEC Chairperson Rahema Jaldesa said the research will generate evidence to inform policy, guide resource allocation and strengthen interventions at both national and county levels.
Currently, we are in a process of developing a legislation that now will cover all these issues of marginalization, what can be done. So this will also now form part of the contribution to what is already ongoing.
Garissa County 2027 gubernatorial hopeful Mohamed Shurie is urging residents to turn up in large numbers for the upcoming continuous voter registration exercise organized by the IEBC later this month. Shurie, who currently serves as the Chief Executive Officer of the Water Resources Authority, says the true power of the people lies in casting their ballots, but not at rallies. His remarks came shortly after receiving the endorsement of the Abduak clan to vie for the top county seat.
Get the vote. You cannot vote. And you cannot help me. You cannot help our government. We have a president. We have other government, other positions. So the only way you can support, is when you get the votes. If you have no ID card, please get an ID card. Kama huna ID card, make sure that you get the ID card. Then after the ID card, register yourself. That is the time you can assist me. That is the time you can assist our president. Those who are saying a lot of things, I think time will come and time will tell. So we need to get the votes. We need now an ID and prepare ourselves for 2027.
Time for business now. Unpredictable regulatory regime coupled with perennial revision of tax laws is restricting international capital inflows into Kenya. Speakers at the 9th Annual East African Venture Capital Capitalization Conference say even though Kenya is highly attractive to investors, the country should implement a stable and predictable policy environment, noting that capital dislikes restrictions and uncertainty. They underscored the need for leveraging cash from local sources such as pension funds, money managers and SACCOs to fund provision of some key services and development.
Partnership and also in supporting the private sector by injecting capital, and that would help in growing the economy. And we have seen a lot of progress in that space, especially after when we got the Nairobi International Financial Center working, and you know Kenya is one of those countries which are very strong and deepened financial sector, and Kenya is leading in this region. So I spoke about that. I spoke about our fiscal space, the macros, the stability that we have in the country, political stability. This is one of the leading democracies.
What we need now is, we were telling the minister, policy environment that creates stability and predictability. Despite many upheavals you've seen in the startup sector, there's still interest in the environment. Why? Because the youth dividend in Africa is big. So it's a market you cannot afford to ignore. In fact, for us who are locals, what we are pushing for is we should not wait for money from out there to come and catalyze all these opportunities. We have money here. Money sitting in the pension funds, not only pension funds. We've seen money managers now coming up. So there's a variety of products, even SACCOs. There's a lot of capital. But where is it going? If it can get some of it into the productive sector, then we will not have to rely on global flows.
Kisumu is slowly but steadily emerging as a conference hub in the western part of Kenya, buoyed by the development of major hotels and conference centers. The city has become a magnet for major regional and international conferences, with the latest being the inaugural Africa's Smart Cities Alliance Summit. The three-day summit, which kicks off next week, is expected to bring thousands of delegates from Africa and beyond to discuss trends in the development of cities in Africa. Weekly Fokech has more details from Kisumu City.
More and more African people living in urban areas. And in the future, the majority will live in urban areas. But then they're moving to urban areas without proper planning, without proper spacing, without proper facilities, because it is easier for people to access certain services in urban areas, whether real or imagined, than in rural areas. So the rural-urban migration is a migration of hope. So the idea of smart cities is that we think ahead of these problems and not live until they come to our doorstep. Then we begin a reactive kind of policy.
over 68% of the world population will be moving to cities and urban centers, according to a UN report by 2050. That means that we have to plan smartly. We have to be aware of the issues, right? And one of the biggest challenges is waste management. So MTACA is a big part of this agenda, looking at the ASCA summit and looking at the smart city conversation, because the waste sector needs to get more investment.
Conference itself is not the end of the journey. It's the beginning of a journey. So as a governor has challenged us, we're going to come up with a very, very clear roadmap on what to do immediately, what to do in the midterm, and what to do later.
And the Tourism Regulatory Authority has developed new regulations that are being rolled out in efforts to improve service delivery in the hospitality industry. Director General Norbert Talam says the Tourism Regulatory Authority is keen on creation of unique and fulfilling visitor experiences.
Standards, and that is what you are rolling out currently. We have accredited more than 1,600 facilities. Waziri, we are looking forward to improving our brand visibility. And if you look at the vehicles that you are now launching, it is branded. Just to improve on that,
we will have a regulated sector where we shall have classified hotels, where guest experience will be improved, which will in turn create employment for Kenyans, and which is, to me, is key, and a stable sector, because we need as many guests as possible for us.
Today's event demonstrates the government's commitment to strengthen TRA's capacity to better deliver on its mandate.
Kenya is targeting to increase tea and coffee exports to the United States through shipments of specialized beverages that fetch premium prices. Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe says specialized beverage will offer Kenyan farmers a competitive edge and increase earnings.
United States imported 272,251 kilos of tea in April this year, ranking it 21st in Kenya's top markets for the produce. Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe believes the United States has a huge market potential that Kenya plans to tap by offering specialized coffee and tea.
We are also the largest purple tea producers in the world, alongside other products that we can discuss. The Kenya coffee is also a premier coffee, especially where it is not blended and where it has got its geographical indicators.
Kagwe says plans are underway to acquire quotas for Kenyan coffee and tea in key retail stores across the United States.
I have a feeling that there are some of our products that are in your shelves through other third parties. For example, you have got tea, possibly Lipton tea, or what you call English breakfast tea. Well, I've got news for you. It is actually Kenya tea.
Speaking during a meeting with potential agriculture investors in the United States, Kagwe said talks are ongoing to enhance traceability systems of Kenyan goods to ensure more agriculture products access key international markets.
Kenya is the third largest producer of tea in the world and is the largest black tea producer on earth.
Benson Druba reporting for Lunchtime News.
It is now time for sport. The government and the National Basketball Association have agreed to fast-track plans for the development of a world-class multi-purpose basketball arena in Kenya, capable of hosting major international competitions, including the Basketball Africa League. In bilateral discussions that were held today, Cabinet Secretary for Sports Salim Mvurya and senior NBA officials led by NBA Africa CEO Claire Akamanzi committed to accelerating the process.
Cabinet Secretary for Sports Salim Mvurya confirmed that the government will prioritize and expedite the identification of a prime venue for the arena as part of its broader sports development agenda, which seeks to modernize infrastructure, expand youth opportunities, and prepare Kenya for hosting continental and global competitions. NBA pledged to mobilize funding and technical expertise to deliver a facility that will not only attract international events like BAL, but also create pathways for Kenyan athletes to access global platforms, generate jobs, and boost Kenya's economy. At the same time, CS Mvurya held consultative deliberations with his National Treasury and Economic Planning counterpart John Mbadi to unlock the funding stalemate towards the actualization of the Agora Win-Win Africa project. The Agora initiative, pioneered in Africa through a France-Africa partnership, brings inclusive sports, cultural and commercial spaces into undeserved communities to promote talent development and social cohesion. The two cabinet secretaries agreed to fast-track the financing framework that will pave the way for the construction of 8 social, sports and cultural complexes across 7 counties.
And Kenya Police Bullets head coach Beldine Odemba has made it clear that her team is going all out for a win as they kick off their CAF Women's Champions League Sekafa qualifiers campaign today. Police Bullets face Uganda's Kampala Queens in their opening match, determined to make a strong start in what will be their second appearance at the regional showpiece. This year marks the 4th edition of the Sekafa qualifiers, which will feature 9 teams from across East and Central Africa. Among them are the FKF Women Premier League champions, Kenya Police Bullets, who return with renewed ambition after narrowly missing out on the title last year. The Kenyan side finished runners-up after they lost by a solitary goal to Ethiopia's CBE in the final. They'll also come up against Eritrean champions Denden SC, who are making their debut in the tournament. Now, the Safaricom Chapa Dimba All-Stars team is set for their international training camp in Spain. The team of 25 outstanding players will leave the country on Saturday evening for Huesca, where they will train for a week. During their stay in Spain, the team will be involved in a series of activities, including playing against Huesca's youth academy and train at the world-class facilities of the base Aranoguiza de Football. The players will also attend a high-energy Segunda Division match between SD Huesca and Malaga CF. The All-Star team will be captained by Stanley Waswa of Ndura Sports Academy and Manda Sunira Were of Highland Royals Moi Girls. Now, Zambia, Comoros and Mali will have a chance to tour the Morocco Football Museum before this year's Africa Cup of Nations kicks off in Morocco on the 21st of December with the opening match, Group A match between the hosts and Comoros. The museum is located just 29 kilometers from the Prince Moulay Abdallah Stadium in Rabat.
According to the Moroccan Football Federation, the government has renovated the venues as they target to deliver the best tournament than the 2023 edition in Ivory Coast, with both stadiums and infrastructure already in place for the continental showpiece. Majority of the venues which will be used for this year's AFCON will also be expanded for the 2030 FIFA World Cup. The country also brags of deep soccer heritage, evidenced from being awarded hosting rights for several international events, both in the past and the future. The 35th edition of AFCON will kick off on 21st December this year, with the host Atlas Lions playing the Comoros Island in the newly refurbished 70,000-seater Prince Moulay Abdallah Stadium in Rabat, the venue which will also stage the final match on the 18th of January next year. The FIFA head office in Africa, the first of its kind here in Rabat, Morocco, will go a long way in coordinating FIFA activities ahead of the 2030 FIFA World Cup, which will be co-hosted by Morocco, Spain and Portugal. Reporting for KBC Channel 1 from Rabat City in Morocco, my name is Dismas Otuke.
And in tennis now, world number 1 Yannick Sinner is through to the semi-finals of the US Open, where he will meet Felix Auger-Aliassime tomorrow. Sinner beat Italian countrymate Lorenzo Musetti in 3 straight sets of 6-1, 6-4 and 6-2, as Felix came from behind to overcome Alex de Minaur in a 4-hour encounter, which he won 4-6, 7-6, 7-5 and 7-6. In the women's singles, two-time US Open champion Naomi Osaka also reached the semi-finals of the US Open after she triumphed 6-4 and 7-6 over 11th seed Karolina Muchova. In the other quarter-final tie, 8th seed Amanda Anisimova handed world number 2 Iga Swiatek a huge blow after a 6-4 and 6-3 victory to set up a semi-final clash against Osaka.
Game, set and match. Game, set and match. Sinner. 3 sets to love. 6-1.
And on that sporty note, that's where we wind up Lunchtime News this afternoon on KBC Channel 1. Thank you very much for watching. Of course, you can get updates on our stories on our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1. My personal Twitter handle is at Betty Kiptum. From myself, Betty Kiptum, my colleague on the sign language interpretation, Lensa Odingo, and everyone who made this possible, we wish you a lovely afternoon. Bye-bye.
Composing himself, short runner. Oh, and there's a brilliant save from Ochieno.
Kenya's stars on the football pitch continues to shine brighter. The dedication, the self-belief and enthusiasm across the board is visionary.
Olunga against Jaju. And Olunga scores. Perfect penalty into the bottom corner. The keeper goes the wrong way. And Kenya are right back in this now.
Join us for the FIFA World Cup 2026 African qualifiers. March Day 7, Group F, Kenya versus Gambia on Friday 5th September 2025 at 4 p.m. from Moi International Sports Center, Kasarani. Live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1. Your true sports partner.
In a groundbreaking medical milestone, doctors at the Kenyatta National Hospital successfully performed a complex surgery to restore nerve functions in an amputated arm, known as transhumeral targeted sensory reinversion, that is TSR, the procedure that involves rerouting nerves from the amputated limb to nearby skin in order to restore sensation. We take you behind the scenes of the scientific research led by a team of Kenyan doctors who made history by performing the first ever TSR procedure on an arm, an innovation shown to reduce phantom limb pain and enhance the sensation of touch and movement in the missing limb. In this episode, we also get to learn new terms like transhumeral targeted sensory reinversion, that is TSR, and phantom